It's great to have Shane Bond, with us, the former New Zealand fast bowler and former New Zealand bowling coach, who's currently involved with Mumbai Indians in IPL. Welcome to this chat, Shane.
No, it's good to be here.
Shane, how does it feel to be called the best fast bowler that New Zealand produced since Sir Richard Hadlee?
I think I've been overtaken by a Trent Boult and a Tim Southee, to be fair. But it's any time you put into comparison with someone who was your hero, it's nice, isn't it? So, look, I never thought I'd play a game for New Zealand, so to then play a few and be compared to someone like Sir Richard was humbling. So, yeah, it probably shows that I got the best out of myself when I played, and it's nice to have made a small contribution to New Zealand cricket.
But when it started, it was very unspectacular when you started for Canterbury in the first couple of years. How would you look back at your early years with Canterbury?
Probably exactly how you see it, unspectacular. Had a lot of injuries when I finished high school, and probably 3 or 4 years after that as well. Had a run of back injuries. I was very lazy, so I didn't train as hard as what I should have and could have, and probably didn't appreciate the game, especially through the late teenage years. And really, it was going away from cricket into a real job as a policeman that I realised I really missed the game, and if I got another chance at it, then I'd do everything that I could to be as good as I possibly could be. So, a change of attitude, a change of work ethic, and it had a massive difference on my not only enjoyment but success after that.
You spoke about being a policeman. Everybody spoke about it in those days. How did that come about? And you took a break as well to be a policeman for a year. How did that come about, and what was your role?
Look, I always wanted to be a policeman. I started when cricket was amateur, so the dream was to play for New Zealand, and then the real job would have been a policeman after that. That was going to be my career. And so really it was when I didn't think I'd make it as a cricketer, I decided to pursue the other dream, which was to be the policeman. So I just went through the process, applied, got accepted, got to police college, and did sort of 3 years in the police. I was just a constable here in Christchurch, did a range of different roles from court escort to traffic, to beat section, to I-cars. Loved it. It was a sensational job, and really was huge for me because it just was a job that put you in a really uncomfortable positions and situations that you had to deal with. And that's what cricket is. You're in uncomfortable situations and having to problem solve and deal with stuff on the fly. And so it's great preparation for being a pro sportsman.
And within a year, you gave it all up and came back to cricket. And very soon you were called up to play for New Zealand. How was that feeling?
Oh, it was sensational. I mean, that was the beauty of the police, is we had about 7 weeks holiday per year. So I just work all winter, train really hard, and try to take leave so I could play club cricket and then first class cricket as much as I possibly could. And my bosses were great with allowing me time to do that. And then, just through an injury to Scott Storris, ended up on an A tour, did really well, and then selected for New Zealand. So when I was playing in my first series against Australia, I was still working full time and ended up just having to take some leave to play against Australia. So, I think it was a huge appreciation, because when I was walking around Christchurch as a policeman, I was thinking, geez, I'd love to be playing cricket. And so when I ended up getting selected and playing international cricket, I just loved every moment of it and didn't think it would last very long. So I just tried to savour it as much as I possibly could.
And your first test series was tough, but in the BB series that followed, you were the player of the tournament. That must have been a huge high for you.
Yeah, it was awesome, mate. I think it was the best thing that could possibly happen to me was to start against Australia. They were arguably one of the great teams of all time, and I knew I could compete. I wasn't a full-time athlete. I was just a policeman who was training a little bit. So I thought that if I went back and trained as a professional, that there's no reason why I couldn't get better and compete against these players. And you came back to the one-day series, you have a little bit of luck, you get some wickets. And what you realise about the game at the top level, it's about confidence and belief in your own ability. And that's what that series really did for me, was give me the confidence to realise I could do it, and the belief that I could be one of the best. And then I just got a plan, got some people around me who could help me, and set a goal to be the best bowler that I could. And away I went, and I was lucky to be able to turn it into a career.
You had a number of interesting battles with Australia over the years during your career, especially at the World Cup in 2003 when you had that famous spell against them and you took a hat trick against them. What was it like playing against Australia that got your juices flowing?
I loved it. I mean, I grew up in a time where New Zealand had sort of moderate success against Australia. Through the mid '80s, we dominated them, but either side of that, Australia would tend to beat us. And the series, particularly the one-day series in Australia with the coloured clothing and the lights, that's what probably drew me to cricket in the first place. So to get the chance to go back in a couple of those series in Australia was unbelievable. And it was a combination of excitement because I knew everybody at home loves beating Australia, and fear because they were such a dominant side and had so many great players that, I mean, Chris Cairns gave me some great advice. He said, against these guys, you've just got to keep backing yourself and coming hard. And that's what I did. And because Australia never take a backward step and they come at you hard and try and put you under pressure, it gave me some opportunity to have some success. And you need a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill. And I had some success against them, and it was fantastic because they're a great team to play against. And either home or away, the crowds were, the support was pretty biased. So it was good fun.
Speed was a critical part of your bowling makeup. You had a wood over Chris Gayle. You had good success against India as well. In fact, you cranked up 156.4 kmph against India in the 2003 World Cup. What was speed like, and what was it battling against these kind of cricketers? Because you had some great batsmen in your era.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that stands out for me, is I was lucky to get to play against a generation of magnificent batters. The Tendulkars, the Laras, the Dravids, the Pontings, the Callises. The quality of players that I got to play against was, a real thrill. And getting their wickets in particular, you just wanted to get that wicket and tick it off the list. So, look, speed, it was interesting. I was a late developer. I was small when I was younger, and the speed sort of developed over time. I was always quick for my age group, but obviously once I got to playing international cricket, and plus the time I was 25, 26 onwards, that's when I really started to bowl fast. So now you move into coaching, that's the first question always people ask me is, how do I bowl faster? I don't know. There's no magic bullet to it. You obviously have to have some genetics to be able to do it. And then the biggest thing when I came back out of the police was myself, I'm going to bowl fast every day. So every day I get the opportunity to go out, I'm going to try and bowl as fast as I can. And that had a massive impact. It took its toll physically, but it also, that attitude got the best out of myself, and I did bowl fast, and I caused some players some problems.
Your late development as a cricketer, was that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Look, I think it gave me perspective because I'd worked a full-time job, so it gave me a real appreciation. But obviously, by the injuries I had, by the time I'd got through my back surgery, I was always on the other side of 30. So you look at someone like Pat Cummins, who started early at 18 and has had a similar sort of injury path that I did, and now he's overcome it. He's 26 and he's got, potentially 10 years to have an amazing career, whereas I started at 26 and then had those injuries, and then, I was 30, 31, which was always, it gave me 3 or 4 years to try to have an impact. So, look, that's just the way stuff goes. You're never going to have it perfect. I'm just thankful that I got the chance to play as much as I did and loved every moment of it.
And injuries you spoke about played a very key part in your career. Your back injury, your knee injury, your abdomen injury. Was it frustrating that you were spending more time out than in?
Yeah, it was hugely, mate, because I put a huge amount of work in. I think I suffered through my own attitude when I was younger. As I said, I wasn't a very good trainer. It caused a lot of injuries for me when I was younger, so I didn't have a real base to fall back on. And then, of course, when you're playing international cricket and trying to play, you play a lot. I'm trying to bowl fast every day. It was always going to take its toll. So, look, some players are just more unlucky than others. There are some guys who can go their whole careers and barely get injured, which is phenomenal. I wasn't one of those guys, but as I said, I'd rather have played a short amount of time and made an impact than played a little bit longer and perhaps didn't really offer as much. So it's just the way it goes.
You're the second fastest to 100 ODI wickets after Saqlain Mushtaq. When you look back and see at records like those, does it feel satisfying that you at least had some impact in the other format, if not the test match format?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you always, you want to win games. So it was, I played, I think, only 18 tests and we won 10. So, to have those wins was amazing. And look, statistics drove me a lot of it, and especially in one-day cricket, I tried to get 2 wickets a game, go up 4 runs and over, try to win Man of the Match awards, and do things that were special and were going to get results for the team. And so, you sit there now and stats pop up on TV like you just spoke about, and your name pops up, and it gives you a sense of pride. Pride because you're on it, but also understanding that it took a lot of hard work and effort and determination behind the scenes. So that gives you a lot of satisfaction when you see that sort of stuff pop up.
Then there was a bit of a period of ICL when you went away and you were contracted with ICL. Was that a difficult phase for you because you had to be practical, yet be patriotic, if I might use that word, to play for New Zealand? Was that a difficult phase for you?
It was really tough, mate. I mean, I had just had kids, obviously had a huge injury toll had been taken on my body. I was 30, 32, and it was tough. It was an exciting time for cricket, but it was incredibly stressful. And for me, it's always you got to make decisions. Although I've got an amazing wife who's allowed me to do what I want to do, ultimately the decisions I make are for the best interest of your family. You want to try and do the best for them, and that hasn't changed. So, look, I got to do some very different experiences. Played with a lot of guys in a very relaxed setting, the Klusners, the Gillespies, the Martins, these sort of guys who I never really knew just through playing, but got to know them really well. Had a great time, played county cricket, couldn't play for New Zealand for 18 months, which was really tough. But look, I still got to do and play the game that I loved in India and England and different parts of the world. So it was still amazing. And I was just lucky that I got back to come and play a season of IPL, played for New Zealand again, and now obviously coaching in different countries as well, which is amazing.
The IPL stint that you mentioned is an interesting one because there was a huge fight for you at the auction table. And finally, when you went for $750,000 to KKR, that must have been a big feeling.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was an amazing feeling being auctioned off and we couldn't watch it on TV here. We could only watch it on, Crick Info and just watch the written thing of it go up. So yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing just to get the chance to play in the IPL because it's a sensational tournament. But obviously then financially the impact for me and the family was huge as well. And then I got to sit through with a couple of other players like Trent Boult and Corey Anderson who went for big money. And to be in the room when the same thing happened to them, it's an amazing feeling. So it's all of those experiences, I've been very lucky to have those.
Yeah, but little later after that, December 2009, you retired from Test cricket, and by May 2010, you had retired from all forms of cricket. Was that a difficult decision to take in a space of 6-7 months?
Not really, mate. It was an interesting one. I knew the year that was coming up, there was tours to Bangladesh. The World Cup was in India. I always trained incredibly hard. I had to. I'm not a great natural athlete. I'm not a very good runner, so I had to. Volume was how I stayed fit and how I prepared myself. And it just got to the point after I retired from Test cricket that I thought, I actually don't know if I can do this anymore. And if I can't do this anymore, then I'm never going to be as good as what I could be. And as it ticked over at the back end of the start of 2010, those sort of feelings grew to the 2010 World Cup, where I remember playing a game thinking, I've just had enough here. And actually told Daniel Vittoria, I walked back to my mark, and a game against England, we were going to get knocked out, and I just said to him, mate, this is the last ball that I bowl. I'm done. And so I've never had any feeling of regret, never missed the game. It was just the timing was right. And could I have kept playing and played the franchise stuff? I could have, but everything for me, my preparation was all built around playing for New Zealand, and I didn't want to play for franchises being well paid if I wasn't what I felt like putting in the effort that was required, and I needed to turn up in the best possible shape that I could have, and I couldn't have guaranteed that. So I thought, nah, I've had enough. I'll step away. And then it was a pretty quick, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And that's where the sort of little bit of commentary and I always wanted to coach, and then I immediately started on a path to try and be as good a coach as I could be.
Not soon after that, in 2012, you became New Zealand's bowling coach, and today you have Trent Boult and Team Saudi terrorizing India on every trip. It's all because of you, all because of the effort that you put in those 3 years that you were the bowling coach of New Zealand.
I mean, I was lucky, mate. I mean, timing timing's never perfect. The one thing I did know when I went into that job is I was really clear about the things that I thought I could change and things that I could do to help those guys. I think I got those guys at a really good time. The Wagners, the Bolts, the Sally, all young, very open, and terrific athletes and terrific guys. And so timing for me was good with them. You know, they were always going to be great. I just hoped that I could help them and push them in their development along the way. And it was an outstanding 3 years. It was a really tough year to start with. But then building all the way through to 2015 World Cup was so much fun. And it's still great to have a really strong relationship with those guys. Had the chance to work with Tim for a couple of years at Mumbai, and now going to get the chance, hopefully, to do the same with Trent again. And always love seeing those guys offering stuff, catching up. And that's the beauty of the coaching jobs. And particularly when you coach Mumbai and Sydney and teams around the world, you form really strong relationships with different players from different countries. And it's always fantastic to catch up with those guys.
Was the constant travel the reason you moved away from an international team and more to franchise cricket? Because you've been with Mumbai Indians for 5 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's Mumbai's. I love Mumbai. It's just I love going to Mumbai. I love the franchise, the owners there. It's sensational to be a part of. Yeah, I mean, I remember leading into the 2015 World Cup to the end of it. I think I was at home for about 20 days out of 8 months, and that I had 3 kids under 6, and it was really, really tough. I still do, I think, 6 months away from home, I think, doing the jobs that I do. But the beauty for now is in Australia, the family can come for a month. And when I'm off, I'm off. When you're working international jobs, even when you come home, you are still working, you're still having to go to the office, there's still stuff to do. So you're not completely engaged in what's going on at home. So I think I've got a far better balance now. I would love to do international coaching again. There's nothing like coaching at that peak level, but I'm very fortunate to be doing what I am at the moment and love doing what I'm doing. And when you're part of teams like Sydney and Mumbai, who are just fantastic, I love every minute of it.
Which international fast bowler today excites you and you feel like he looks a bit like me?
I don't know. Matt Henry looks a little bit like me, I think. Always, there's a couple. I mean, you get the odd Kiwi bowler, don't you, who you go, well, that you can see guys who have modelled a little bit. And so Matty's from that generation a little bit below. So anyone who brings their hand back over their head like I did, that looks... that looks a little bit like I did, and I still see videos of Richard Hadley, and he did the same thing. And it was just, I just copied him. And I remember even through school trying to be Alan Donald and trying to be Malcolm Marshall and trying to be Danny Morrison, and the whole range of different bowlers that I tried to be when I was growing up, and ended up in this sort of mishmash of sort of Sir Richard Hadley and a whole lot of other bowlers that proved to be reasonably effective. So yeah, Matty Henry is probably the closest one where I saw them both. Thought, he's sort of a combination of me and Jason Gillespie, I think.
You've worked a lot with Jasprit Bumrah as well over the years. He's become a world-class performer for India. How does it feel to see him perform so well at the international level?
Oh, fantastic. I think, I mean, I came into Mumbai, and I think Jasprit had a year at Mumbai, and then obviously had his knee injury, so didn't feature much in my first year. It was Hardik's first year at Mumbai. I think his brother turned up a year later. And so to see the development of these players and any team that you coach and where they've gone, and particularly Jasprit, where he's gone from, obviously a bad knee injury to now the best fast bowler or one of the best in the world. It's brilliant, and you hope that you just had offered some stuff that sort of fast-tracked that development. So, for 2 months of the year, I love working with Jasprit. He's a fantastic kid. He's got great attitude. No surprise to me that he is where he is because of his work ethic and the attitude and the belief that he has in himself. As I said, I'm just fortunate I get to turn up every year for 2 months and work alongside him and push him and challenge him and hope to keep seeing his growth and success continue for heaps of years. And yeah, it's exciting. Every series you watch on TV now, I watch Joss Buttler play for England or Jasprit play for India or Chris Morris play for South Africa. You text and you message and you say well done, and they're just relationships that are really strong across different players and different teams.
Finally, when you look back, do you feel fulfilled or satisfied with your career? In spite of it being short, you made a big impact. Do you feel fulfilled, satisfied when you look back?
I am, mate. I mean, I would love to have got 100 Test wickets. I mean, that was one of the things that would have been great. But the game's been so good to me. I mean, it's always ups and downs in whatever career you choose. But I mean, I started when I was 6 years old. I'm now coming up 45. So for nearly 39 years, it's been a huge part of my life. The game's given me a job since I was 26. So for nearly 20 years, I've been able to make a career out of, playing and a little bit of commentary and coaching. I love the game of cricket, and if I can keep doing this for as long as I can, I will. So no regrets from me, mate. I love the game and just want to see it continue to flourish wherever it is in the world.
Thanks a lot. I would just say a police department's loss has been cricket's day. Thanks a lot for switching to cricket, and keep working hard and keep doing well. Stay safe and stay indoors.
You too, mate. Much appreciated. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.